Shabbat Shalom. Take a deep breath in and notice where you are. Notice your place. And breathe out your hopes, your yearnings, your attention to the Sabbath in front of you. As we continue on page 125, for those of you who do not have our Siddur Mishkan Tfilah in your home, please be certain to access the PDF on our website. 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide, help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. On the wings of an eagle, we welcome the Sabbath, Kabbalat. On page 128, Yedid Nefesh Av Harachaman.
Yedid Nefesh Av Harachaman.
Yedid Nefesh Av Harachaman. Meshochav Techa El Ritzonecha. Meshochav Techa La 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 El Ritzonecha. Yarutz Avdecha Ayal Yishachav Elai Lai Lai La La Lai 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 El Muhadarecha. 129. A warm, open heart, Dodi Li, finding these places of intimacy and open-heartedness for the Sabbath.
Dodi li
Va'ani lo haro'eh b'shoshanim.
Dodi li
Va'ani lo haro'eh b'shoshanim. Mi zot ola min hamidbar, mi zot ola, mi zot moru livona, moru livona. Dodi li va'ani lo haro'eh b'shoshanim. Dodi li va'ani lo haro'eh b'shoshanim. 137. Kol Adonai chotzev lahavot eish. The voice of the Supreme One kindles flames of fire. The voice of HaShekhinah convulses the wilderness. The source convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. 138. Paragraphs 1 and 2, 5 and 9. It is traditional in synagogues throughout the world to literally stand and face the entrance of Hamakom, of our sacred space, to welcome all who choose to be in our midst. That standing happens at the 9th and final paragraph.
Lecha dodi
Likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litfilah. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, כי היא מקור
הברכה,
הברכה, מראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Paragraph 5. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת פעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem,
Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Hi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Baruchuni
leShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. leShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We hold in our prayers all of those first responders, members of our congregation, extended family and friends of our congregation, first responders in the community who are putting their lives on the line to meet our needs. 143. And so we understand that ordinary people are messengers of the Most High. They go about their tasks in holy anonymity, often even unknown to themselves. Yet if they had not been there, if they had not said what they said or did what they did, it would not be the way it is now. We would not be as we are now. Never forget that you too, yourself, may be a messenger, perhaps even one whose errand extends over several lifetimes. 145, with all of the miraculous, the accomplishments, the joys of the week, so too do we hold the challenges. Together, we focus on Lamdeni, our alternative for Chetzi Kaddish.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, unripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Lamdeni Elohai Barech v'hitpalel Lamed et siftotai bracha v'shir halel.
Calling one another into formal worship, 146, we face yet another place, Yerushalayim, making our connection with our people everywhere.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
One 150, full of love. We prepare ourselves for the Shema by receiving love. The Shema inspires us to bring forth love into the world.
Avat olam,
Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta, Otanu lemadeta. Alkein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbenu, v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'or בהמשך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, נגי יומם בלילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. 152.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch
Shem Kvod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. 154. The love that you bring to the world.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ug'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Martin Buber writes, when people come to you for help, do not turn them off with pious words, saying, have faith, and take your troubles to the source. Act instead as if there were no God, as though there were only one person in all the world who could help, only yourself. 157, we pray responsively. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. 158.
Lai 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 lai
La
lai
la la
lai
la
lai
la
lai
la
lai
la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Malchutecha ra'u manecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Lai 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 la lai la 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 lai, yai lai 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 ya la 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 lai, yai la lai lai yai lai la la lai, yai la lai lai yai lai 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 lai. 160. The evening brings a desire for protection and shelter, a recognition of our vulnerabilities, and a place to more deeply connect to the presence of the divine in our life. 6 lines from the bottom of the Hebrew, Ushmor tzeitenu uvo'enu, guard us in our going out and our returning. And as we sing from the bottom, we will then continue at the top with our cantorial soloist Alexandra, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu.
Ushmor tzeitenu uvo'enu
l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. 163. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Tfilat Amidah, beginning on 164, and then moving into Tfilah Belachash, a prayer that is whispered soft enough that it can be private for you, whispered loud enough that you can hear what is ruminating in your heart and bring that prayer to the source. Adonai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
Adonai Tzuri v'go'ali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Yehiyu l'ratzon imrei fi v'hegyon lebi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'go'ali. Adonai tzuri v'go'ali.
The source who creates peace in the heavens inspire us to have and to know, to hold and to work for peace here on earth.
Oseh shalom
Bimromav,
bimromav,
Uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Aseh shalom,
Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. With our hearts truly opened in prayer through the Amidah, we turn to page 371, and we ask for healing for those members of our community who are dealing with challenges of body and of soul. Avel ben Rachel David, Craig Albelli, Anna Cohen Klein, Adele Corvin, Tyler Corvin, John Gautier, Jeff Gold, Judy Jacobs, Stephen Gutterman, Robin Stone, Ellen Vogelab, Todd Albelli, Tommy Anderson, Debbie Brenner, Michael Corvin, Steve Fine, Cheryl Fitzsimmons, Francine Glasser, Mark Greenberg, Marcia Hamburg, Danny Joseph, Heather Kedar, Marty Cantor, Anita Cantor, Heather Kite, Jill Levy-Corley, Charlie Lippman, David Mallon, Danielle Mass, Sandy Mel, Ann Murkoff, Marshall Nadan, Catherine Nicholson, Nieva Nuzzi, Steve Perlmutter, Antoinette Phelan, Lillian Rich Schuster, Dave Rosenthal, Evelyn Rosenthal, Kyle Rothgeb, Barbara Salberg, Shirley Schneider, Deborah Sears, Phil Searle, Michelle Simon, Charles Slutsky, Elaine Trott, Mark Trott, Kay Walsh, Ben Wilder, Karen Wilder, Mac Williams, Scott Zimbler.
Sheberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Sheberach imotenu mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Place, makom, ha-makom, place. Don't get lost in this week's parashahs, journeying through some compelling and, I'll be honest, some confounding subjects, blessings and curses, choice, a fixation on wiping out idolatrous behavior, a prohibition against self-mutilation, a reiteration of the laws of kashrut, the importance of the pilgrimage holidays, Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot, and the ability to distinguish ourselves from our neighbors All of that and more happens in this week's parasha. But at the end of the day, there is one phrase repeated more than any other phrase in this week's portion, and that is place. The importance of place becomes central. Makom, ha-makom, in this week's portion. Deuteronomy 12:18 says, ha-makom, asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha, the place that the Eternal One will choose. This phraseology of place happens no fewer than 15 times in this one parasha. The presence of the divine in place. Chapter 12, verses 2 through 21. The presence of the divine when we care for one another. Deuteronomy 14:22. The presence of the divine through our observance. Deuteronomy 16:11 and 16:15, and on and on and on are the citations. What does makom mean? Yes, of course, the literal meaning is place. But makom frequently refers to the temple, ha-makom. We learn in Chronicles 16:27 that here, ha-makom is indicated by any place where prayer happens. Place. The rabbis suggest that when we say makom, we are referring to Jerusalem. And Baba Batra, the Talmud, 74a, place is that location from which spreads sanctity. The place where the divine rests and where the presence of the divine is, that is place we learn in 2 Samuel 7:16. And of course, you will remember from a year ago when my teaching on the high holidays flirted with the 72 names of the divine as a subject, as a theme. Makom, ha-makom, specifically refers to one of the 72 names of the Eternal. But I will tell you that while place happens in this parasha of Deuteronomy, Parashat Re'eh, more than 15 times, perhaps for me the most beautiful illustration of place is in Genesis. Jacob left Beersheba and set out in the direction of Haran. Jacob came upon ha-makom, the place. And he declared in 28:16, how awesome is this place, and I did not even know it. This citation of place in Genesis reminds us that place requires that we are aware of the divine presence therein. Recognition that the divine presence is here. The point of contact between the divine presence and the human spirit that place of encounter is Hamakom. And it is of no small importance that when we are wandering in the desert for 40 years, we are in constant yearning for and searching for and waiting for and hoping for Hamakom, the place. But there's another side of it, which says that once we've landed, once we've settled, once we've arrived, once we have Israel, our Beit Knesset, once we've settled, then there's a shift. It's no longer just a yearning for, but the emphasis becomes the ability to transcend place into action. We stand still in our place, and it inspires us to action. The place is perhaps the safe place for our values. The place where we feel compelled from here to tithe, to care for the most vulnerable in our midst, to care for the world. Place must move us to action. And notwithstanding that in today's parashah, in this week's parashah, at least 15 times place is described, it is not explicit as to which of these definitions place actually is. We know that place expressly requires us to transition from the experience of being to the experience of being with the eternal presence. Just as we knew that when we traveled in the desert and the presence of the divine was with us in the wilderness, in our wanderings, ultimately, when we come home, place is no longer the yearning, but the focal point. In biblical times, the rabbis referred to place as Yerushalayim, centralized worship around the temple in Jerusalem. Because at that time, that was where all of our fundamental values would originate from. That's where our values would be cultivated, protected, and communicated. That was the place in the temple in Jerusalem that we maintained and felt the presence of the divine. But let's step back for a moment and think about the word Yerushalayim, not just the place. Of course, Shalem, to have peace, to be whole, to be fulfilled. And Yerushalayim, to be inspired toward, to have the ability to see and to actualize peace. Today, all of us are aware of our Jewish identity that doesn't come from a place alone, but is something that we carry within ourselves. A sense of the divine doesn't happen in any one place, but is experienced within and without. It is experienced in everyday miracles and in the extraordinary. And yet there is still a valuable, critical, vital necessity to have a focal point from which we can define a place to meet, a place to learn, a rallying point to sharpen our resolve, to focus our priorities, to see. Re'eh. See. I have put before you the blessings and the curse. Choose the blessings so you may have life. Re'eh, we hear in chapter 11:26 of Deuteronomy. That's how the parsha opens. And how does it end? In 16:16, Yera'eh, to be seen. We must see and we must be seen. 3 times a year, the portion says, show up, appear before the source. Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot. The critical nature to be seen, to see and to be seen, and all for the purpose of Shema. To hear, to pay attention, to listen, to practice, to live a life of action, of deeds, of doing. That doing is highlighted in the middle of the portion, Deuteronomy 15:11, with one verse. For there will never cease to be needy ones in your land. Which is why the source says, I command you, open your hand to the poor and needy in your land. All of this in the spirit of the Jewish experience of knowing what it is to have been enslaved, of knowing what it is to have been wronged, of knowing what it is to not be seen. That compels us to see others and to be warm-hearted, to be open-hearted, to be responsive and open-handed, to be responsible for the other in their time of need. And so I'm going to ask you, how are we doing? Yes, we are in tough times. And each one of us is keeping place. This place, I trust, at the core, at the center of our priorities. But how are we doing? We are wading through rough waters. Deuteronomy teaches that there will always be others in need in our midst. Ask yourself this evening one question. Are our hands open to those around us who are finding themselves in need? The ethical, the faith-driven imperative is clear. Re'eh natati lefanecha habracha v'haklala. See, I have put before you the blessings and the curse. The choice is ours. So a moment of announcements. This is so important because while we are not gathering in the sanctuary in the building at this time, we are very much active and things are occurring and happening. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Noah Simon Donchek will be called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah, as has been our tradition since March. Whenever there is a bar or a bat mitzvah, we are inviting the congregation to participate fully through live stream. While Noah's peers and members of the congregation cannot physically be here with us, I know and I trust that you will all be viewing the service tomorrow and celebrating with Noah and his parents as Noah becomes a bar mitzvah at 10 a.m. Next Friday, August 21st, here, Bamakom, in this place, the confirmands will be celebrating confirmation that was rescheduled from Shavuot, from May. Our service will begin at 7:25 with the ritual of the month of Elul, blowing the shofar. I will be blowing the shofar every day during the month of Elul. Any classes that you take with me, we will stop once and blow the shofar, and every Friday night before the service begins, we will blow the shofar here in the sanctuary. The confirmands and their parents ask that you join this celebration next Friday night for a very different confirmation celebration. Even the confirmand's parents will not be in the building. They too will be live streaming. We hope that you will be there with us. At the end of the month, on Sunday, August 30th, from 7 p.m. till 8:30, our social action invites you to join them via Zoom for an interview with Dr. Paul Bermanzon. He is a board member of the A.J. William Myers African Roots Center in Kingston. He will be joined by 2 members of the Bard staff, 1 professor and 1 chaplain in the local prisons, and they will be guiding us through the history behind the movie 13th. Social Action asks that everybody find the time between now and Sunday the 30th to view the 13th documentary either on Netflix or on YouTube, whichever platform is easier for you to access. If you know an essential worker, we can honor them by adding their name to the list that most weeks we read in full. Please email their names to us. Our High Holiday schedule and Yizkor memorial cards have been mailed. We are looking forward to receiving those Yizkor cards as early as possible. As you know, we will be launching the High Holidays virtually, so the earlier we get your Yizkor cards, the easier it is for us to have everything in order prior to the High Holidays. If you would like your loved one remembered in the Book of Life or with memorial tablets in our sanctuary, please contact Conrad Heisman or the main office. Our building remains closed, but the main office is working via phone and email from 10 to 2, and I am here for you pretty much every day. Reach me in my study or reach me on my cell phone. Please join with the classes that happen all week long, and please stay with us each and every Sabbath as we observe Shabbat together bamakom, in this place, as an extended community. 587.
Aleinu lishabeach la'adon hakol,
Lateit gedula leotzer breshit, shehu sam chelkeinu liached et shemo, v'gor aleinu lehamlich malchuto, v'anachnu korim umishchachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. 591, may we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O source, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai
Lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo 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 echad. Page 592. In our community, we have sustained losses in the last week and in the last month, in the last Shavua, Shiv'ah, and Shloshim. We are with the Weber family as they remember Robert Weber, Zichrono Livracha. We are with Deb Sonnenstein and Allison Klein as they remember Ronald Sonnenstein, Zichrono Livracha. We are with Kahana Skalnik as she remembers Levi Skalnik, Zichrono Livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. So too does my heart go to the list of members of our congregation who are observing Shana for their loved ones. We hold you in our prayers. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old people that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for the other walking the street beside you. When you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do, so when all that's left of me is love, give me away. To those recently departed, I add the names of the yard sites of loved ones who died in this season in years past. We pray that their memory will be for a blessing. Marcus Appel, Jane Aronson, remembered by Ellen Leifer. Martin Cantor, remembered by Paul Reiter. Bertha Galley, remembered by Paula Galley. Milton David Goldman. Alan D. Levy, Yisrael Yosef ben Yitzchak Veruchel, remembered by Gail Levy. Mark Phelan, remembered by Tara Phelan. Frederick Quarterer, remembered by Fred and Joan Quarterer. Pauline M. Rosenbaum. Lois Rubin, remembered by Diana Rubin. Nellie Satinsky, remembered by Kitty Satinsky. Emmanuel Schoenberger. Elaine Siller, remembered by Andrew Siller. Leon Singer, Edwin Wetterhahn. Melanie Wilder, remembered by Ben Wilder. Kaddish Yatom, 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulalmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adam, ve'imru, amen. Page 644. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Worship and celebrate the presence of the Sacred One. Come into the presence, this place, with singing. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha, Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha, Fanav birnana, birnana. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha, Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. V'olefanav birnana, birnana. Yalalai, lalalai, lalai, lalai. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalalai, lalai, lalai. Ya la 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 la. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha, Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Lefanav birnana, birnana. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha, Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Lefanav birnana, birnana. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Turning in our Siddur for the Kiddush, page 122. Vayehi erev, vayehi voker, yom hashishi, vayichulu, hashamayim v'haaretz, v'chol tziva'am, vayichal Elohim, Bayom Hashvi'i, Melachto Asher Asa, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות צברי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן, אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת, אמן. לחיים. המוציא לחם מן הארץ. We give thanks to the source for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Break bread, b'te'avon, Shabbat Shalom. Sending love to all of your homes and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.